we're talking with Dr. Timothy Leary about his book Flashbacks, and everybody, I guess, gets into very serious, heavy conversations with you all the time, but I mean, you got a great sense of humor. You were in a Cheech and Chong movie.
That's right, yeah.
And did you play yourself in it?
Yeah, well, I played part of myself, or what they thought was myself. Oh. There's no script to a Cheech and Chong movie, as you know,
yeah.
So it's everyone for themselves.
You're fans of theirs. And they're fans of yours, too, I guess.
Well, we're close friends. My wife and I went over to the Cannes Film Festival and stayed for a week with Cheech and Chong. They're making their new movie in Paris. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Paris is going to recover, but...
They're ready for Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
And also, didn't you do something here at some comedy clubs?
Well, you know, I'm like George Plimpton. I like to try things out. You remember when he played quarterback, right. One play for the Detroit Lions, was it? For about 3 or 4 months, I went across the country giving a college lecture on philosophy of evolution of intelligence in nightclubs. And it was a very brave thing to do, and I enjoyed doing it, and came out alive.
Because you know where the audience's minds are half the time in a comedy club. I mean, they're pretty much out there themselves.
Well, actually, Bill, you know, comedy clubs have sprung up in this last decade. They're like rock and roll parlors used to be in the 60s and discos in the 70s. Comedy clubs are places where dissent and irreverence and kind of anti-establishment humor can sprout out, and so I felt at home. I always feel at home in comedy clubs.
By the way, we didn't mention that we did mention that in 1963 you were fired from Harvard.
Yeah.
But 20 years later, you've gone back, and
well, isn't that amazing?
Open arms, he's back.
3 weeks ago, Richard Alpert, who later became Ram Dass, a Hindu holy man, and he was my partner there. We were invited back to Harvard on the 20th anniversary of our being canned, and the professor who canned us officiated and welcomed us back and kind of explained it all historically. And also, the head of the California prison system, a man named Procunier, has read my book and is writing me a rave review of it, so that it's the American way. After the ball game is over, you shake hands and...
you look at it all like, isn't this kind of weird, this whole thing? I mean, you spend time in prison, now they're doing reviews on your books. The guys that fire you bring you back, and
well, time is
everybody's buddies again.
Time is on my side. I'm getting respected. But see, when the baby boom takes over in 2 to 6 years, I'm going to become that most horrible nightmare fright. I'm going to become respectable. Do you know that I, right now, am the honorary father of a little league team in the Valley? The Studio City Red Sox, if you want to.
Really? And these are kids what?
I got a 9-year-old kid that plays center field, playing right now, as a matter of fact.
Yours?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great. And then the other parents, they're probably, you know, the people that were with you in the 60s.
Well, they invited me to be the team dad, so, and I keep the score, too. So I'm getting respectable. Can you handle that,
I was going to say, is Timothy Leary gone straight on us here? Next, you'll be having a bowling league on Thursdays.
An interesting thing about Flashbacks is that this is my first book that I tried to write in a linear fashion. A lot of my other books have been either very scientific or experimental. I tried to make this one middle of the road, an adventure story. And I'm delighted because not only do my friends like it, but their mothers and fathers like it, and I've even got 3 grandparents that like it. They don't agree with me necessarily, but at least now some of the things that happened back there make sense. So I'm proud that that Flashbacks is getting a broad, wide reception.
You must have kept a diary over the years, haven't you? Because this goes all the way back to your childhood.
Well, I was helped by the CIA and the FBI who kept a diary on me. I got over 80 documents from the Freedom of Information, and I cite in the index of Flashbacks, because some of the stories I tell seem a little too far out, that the CIA actually paid my way out of Algeria at one time, but then I have the documents from the Freedom of Information file, exactly how they sent me out and how they were setting me up, and they wanted to arrest me in Athens and so forth. So that's I've had a lot of help in diary keeping. I also keep my archives. I have a warehouse in the Valley. I have over 100 cartons of records. We were, you know, at Harvard, we were running the world's largest drug research center. I don't think that ever has there been such, or perhaps there won't for some time, be such an extensive project. We had about 40 or 45 staff members, and
obviously, is that how you got involved in?
Well, yeah, I was actually the head of it.
Yeah, well, okay.
Although actually, I don't know if you know it, Bill, but I was a late comer for LSD. The first advocates of LSD in this country were Cary Grant in 1958-59. Did you know that? He was going on the tube and telling everyone how his life had been changed, and indeed it did. He was rather introverted before that, and he became quite outgoing. And another great advocate of LSD in the late 50s and early 60s was Henry Luce, the founder of Time and Life magazine, and his wife Claire Booth Luce. Now, Cary Grant and the Luces were taking LSD.
Well, why don't we trip out?
Hey, yeah. No. They were taking it thoughtfully and planfully. Now, come on. Oh, stay with me here now, Bill. Stay with me. Hey, stay.
No.
Are you, did those love beats take over? But they were taking LSD very thoughtfully and planfully, as we were at Harvard. And it was not until 1970, when as a result of the loose publications kind of endorsing LSD, that then you had 7 or 8 million American kids who wanted to take it, but there was no LSD around because they'd stopped making it, so we were getting impure LSD and getting many of the bad reactions that happen, so that it's a kind of a complicated history here, which I explain in my book. And
but nobody really, I mean, to any great extent, messes with it now, do they? LSD.
There's a lot of research going on, and there's a lot. There's probably as much use of it now as there was in the mid-'60s, but it's quiet. It's an elitist thing. People who...
You always hear them, I mean, when they talk about statistics, drug statistics, that college kids are going back to booze, drugs are
and cocaine.
Going down.
Yeah. I was very amused just yesterday. It turned out that the new people that have been exposed as drug users in Washington, D.C. are Barry Goldwater, Jr. and Teddy Kennedy. Did you read that in the paper? Jack Anderson?
I've heard the...
Yeah. So it's getting really mainline, isn't it?
Well, I read about that last year.
Yeah.
And there's a big investigation going on about that whole thing. So it's everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, except for
what do you think of cocaine?
I don't use it. I've got too much energy anyway, and I can't afford it. As Cheech says, it shrinks the membranes of your wallet.
I read that today. Yeah, that's
oh, well.
But that's about right. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Great pleasure, Bill.
Talking to you. Thank you. Dr. Timothy Leary. You got to sign the book for me.
I'll sign it for you.
We're going to take a break and be back with Randy Brooks. Stay with us.